All right, good morning, Alta Realty Group agents. I hope everybody's doing well in this crazy time. This is definitely some unprecedented territory we are all in, but we're Americans, we're humans, and we all band together, and this is what we do. So we will all get through it. Want to bring on Bill Seitz and Travis Breton. 1 second, guys. Let me bring you on here. Okay. There's Travis. Good morning, Travis. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on the webinar. And let me bring Bill on as well. Bill, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are we doing today?
Doing okay. Hanging in there. So today what we want to do is we just want to go through a couple different things. We'll have Travis kind of help us with some of the mandates that have gone out and some of the the things that we all need to be paying attention to with respect to the COVID virus. And of course we'll also take some questions as well. So feel free to use the chat feature and make sure that if you have questions that you put them out there for us. But before we get into that, obviously, the mortgage world has just been turned upside down. And so we want to have Bill give us a little bit of a an update on what's happening there. I'll bring in, I know you sent me this great video as well. So take it away, buddy.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. I know things are changing rapidly and it's fluid almost daily. And I think today's webinar is going to be really good because I'm going to give my perspective from what I'm seeing in the banking world. As you know, the markets have been just, upside down, pogo sticking with a lot of uncertainty, and that has been reflected in mortgage rates. But there's United Wholesale is one of our preferred wholesale banks that we work with. And Matt Ishbia is the president and CEO of the company. He put out a really short 4-minute video that kind of covers a lot of stuff that I think is good for all of us to hear. And despite being real estate or lending related, it's all interrelated, right? So if the banks are having issues, the banks are having challenges, we're going to have challenges out in the field. So let's just listen to this, and then I'll go through my notes after we're done watching Matt's. It's about 4 minutes, but I think it's really good, and it's good information for us to all hear from somebody who's running a major mortgage operation in the real estate field.
Yeah, I'm going to hit play. If for some reason it's not, if you can't hear the video, just tell me, Bill.
Okay. Turn it up, yeah. It's a little bit quiet, Kev.
I'll see if I can do something about that.
And we can just restart it, but.
Is it just not loud enough?
Yeah, it's not very loud.
Let's see if I can.
Or, I don't know, Travis, is it loud on your end?
No, it's quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if we can make that a little louder for us here, guys. Yeah, it could be tough to get that speaker. Let's see. Let me try this.
If just give it a second. If you can't make it work, we can just send that out to everybody. You know what I mean? We could just link it up to everybody.
I mean, is it just you can't hear it at all?
It's just probably too quiet, I think, for everybody.
Okay. Let's see. One more thing here. Nope, that's not gonna work. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if we can really get that any louder. Let me try one more thing.
Mm-hmm. I can't hear anything now.
Bill,
What's that?
Was that any better or no?
I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Well, you can kind of give us a little.
Yeah.
I know you've got your notes on this. You can kind of give us an overview, and I will put this video out in the replay to make sure everybody is able to watch it.
Yeah, so he basically just does a really good job of explaining what's going on from his perspective, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and he's not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah.
Rates, and that's reflected in the rates. So The rates have been just all over the map. I've seen as much as a 1.5 swing in one day between one investor. So it's really I've been able to lock a couple loans and find little windows where the banks are. I believe they're giving little opportunities here and there, but for most part, it's challenging, and everyone is having the same challenge. They're trying to stem the flow of new business while at the same time trying to mitigate a massive problem with their staffing and their their logistics and their infrastructure. So in that little video, even though you can't really see, but behind him is a massive building, and I've walked that building 2 times, and it's huge. I think it's an 80,000 square foot building filled with over 5,000 employees. Yeah. Well, he goes on to tell you in the video that everyone's no longer working from that facility. Yeah. So everyone needs just to realize this is a major disruption, and everyone is trying to do their best to let people work from home, underwriters, processors, you name it, on down the line. And we just have to be a little bit sensitive to that. There's the Freddie and Fannie loans. 80% of the loans are still being done. There's not really an issue there. Whether you're in the county conforming limits or within those Fannie Freddie guidelines, those I haven't really seen much. FHA, VA rates are very good, super low. But we are seeing is some of the issues with the non-qualified mortgage, meaning bank statement loans, asset depletion loans, different kind of, we call them non-QM because they're not qualified through the typical Freddie, Fannie requirements or guidelines. And what's happening now is the secondary market, what happens is a lot of these loans get sold, right? There's an investor that funds the loan, does the deal, and they sell that loan into a secondary market where investors will pick up those loans and either service them or invest in them, which frees up the line for the bank that actually originally did the loan. Right. So, but what's happened now is the secondary market is has no appetite with the uncertainty to purchase these loans. So all these non-QM products are basically, they're done for the moment. That nobody is interested in lending on them. There's no money behind them to purchase them. And so all these banks are basically, they're on hold for the moment, suspended for at least 30 days. So I think if we can get some good news and we can get some progress here, I think hopefully we'll start seeing some of these programs come back. I personally had a large loan with one of our agents here, Catherine Perozzi, and it was just a bummer because we had the approval. It was clean. It was ready to go, and the bank pulled the plug on Friday. So they told us they're no longer going to do the deal. Nice. So just, stuff that's going on. Appraisals, some of you guys are in cities up in the Bay Area, which are on, a kind of a lockdown quarantine. I mean, you're not even really supposed to be even leaving your house, other than maybe going out for some fresh air or going to the store. You have to be understanding that the appraisals could be on delay or an issue. And I know that Freddie and Fannie are trying to come up with new methods without maybe the appraisers having to be at risk where they're going into the homes, where they can do them, drive-by basis with an exterior appraisal, or they can do a desk appraisal. So those are things that are now starting to make their way into the system. And just lastly, I just want to emphasize that we all just have to practice patience. Yeah. I've noticed some people just that I deal with day to day that are still like kind of pushing pedal to the metal, thinking that things are as they are. They're just not. No. And if you have a solid deal in place, and I think Travis might be able to expand on this as I hand the baton off to him. If you have a solid deal in place, you have a buyer that's very well, funded as far as what their loan looks like. They have a large, good down payment, or they're, highly qualified. Their job's not impacted by this coronavirus situation. Don't be the guy that's sending your contingency removal on the eve of the 17th day if everything still looks good and all the communication's there. if someone's, open saying, hey, just the bank's running a little bit slower, we thought we'd get the approval out. If everything looks good, just be patient. Don't just kill the deal because you're on the night of your last day of contingency. That is my recommendation. I'll let Travis touch on this later, but I'm just telling you from what I'm seeing from the appraisers to the banks to, the title companies, the escrow companies, everyone's under a lot of stress. Everyone's being impacted, but everyone's working. So just have a little bit of patience. It goes a long way.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Bill. A little bit of patience is going to definitely help out a lot. So yeah, let's get into a couple things here. I know, Travis, you sent me a lot of different things. I'm going to pull up, let's see here. I'm going to cancel this screen share and pull up a second one here. Okay, so we are going to share this guy here. So this is just something that Travis, you had sent me. This is a good kind of overview of, especially the disclosure of potential COVID-19 exposure and a couple of other things. So first of all, just let's talk about that first, the disclosure of potential COVID-19 exposure. What do we have to do regarding that?
So the I guess addendum that they came out with, it's kind of an interim addendum for what's going on right now. It's not a mandatory addendum. Not every seller or buyer is going to sign it. So, keep that in mind first and foremost. But I would be adding that to any purchase that you're doing right now, if you're doing that, and any purchases after, the world comes back alive when we can, be released from our cages of our homes. I would add that CVA addendum to your purchases. I'm going to guess at least through summer.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that even when we're able to go freely, that everything is going to be like it was. This is going to be circulating for quite a while. It's going to take a little while for things to kind of get back up to speed. And so add that in if you can. There's no guarantee the seller is going to agree to it, but basically what it's stating is that there are circumstances beyond everybody's control that may delay or possibly cancel out this sale. Just as Bill was just talking about, the lender just said, hey, we're not doing this loan anymore,
Yeah.
So I know one of our agents, Joanna, she has a problem with appraiser on her property, won't go out to the property.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you do?
Causing a bottleneck, isn't it?
Yeah. So this will at least set the tone. If all parties agree to it, it'll set the tone for the transaction that, hey, we all want to do this thing and let's work together to, get to the end. We understand there may be delays and, let's give it a shot kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go over it in too detail. It's a one pager. It's really, self-explanatory when you look at it. I mean, the first part tells you, what the addendum is, and that it talks about force majeure, basically, that there's extenuating circumstances that may prevent this deal from happening just due to the current market. And then there's a couple optional sections down at the bottom that you can check or uncheck. And it can be used as a cancellation in lieu of the cancellation form. So, and I believe that would be the last option. I think it's number 3. I actually don't have it in front of me because I'm actually sitting in my car because I have a full house and it's loud. So,
exactly. All the kids and
yeah.
we're all dealing with that, aren't we?
Yeah, I have 6 humans living in my house right now. So
right. Normally on Wednesday at 9:00, they're not there.
Exactly. Yeah, they're all in school, and right now they're not all in school. So
right.
We're all dealing with this, and I think everybody right now is, for the most part, being sympathetic to the situation and understanding that we're all working from home for the most part, and so, but there are going to be some deals, like Bill was saying, don't be that agent trying to get contingencies released. But you do have to also, there's a fine line there. You do have to represent your client too. So having the CVA addendum in place could be a nice, a good medium there for tempering the situation and keeping everybody on a level playing field. I mean, I have a deal actually going right now, and we're about a week ahead of all the shutdowns as they've been happening. So it's a VA loan. Everything seems to be going fine. Everybody's moving forward, but I have a seller who just does not care,
Yeah.
It's not a short sale, but they haven't made a payment on it in 5 months. So it's, if they foreclose on it, they don't care. They're not negotiating anything. And I'm trying to hold this thing together and tell them, look, I mean, we have some stuff going on here, and you'd be lucky to sell it during this time. Not to mention it sat on the market for quite a few months, because you wouldn't reduce the price. So,
is there an NOD filed on that? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, I have an unwilling seller and a buyer that's kind of still, they're sticking with it. I mean, they've agreed to nothing, I guess, when it comes to negotiating. I mean, they just keep saying, okay, we want it. So, luckily I have one that I think is going to close probably next week. But, trying to keep it going has been a little bit of a challenge. So I believe, Joanna too, she just had a really, really challenging one where both the seller and the buyer were very difficult, and they didn't care about what was going on, either one of them. And, she ended up getting it closed too. But, just be mindful, I guess. And, communication is key, and try and get that CVA up front. You can try and put it in place now too, if you have an open escrow going. But like I said, there's no guarantee the other party will sign it, and they don't have to. So just keep that in mind too.
And so next, Travis, I wanted to bring up the car coronavirus update page. So that's what was displayed here. So this is a good, and of course I'm going to include this link in the replay, because this is a good spot for us to be checking into. I believe they're doing kind of daily updates. Is that right, Travis? I think they're doing daily updates here. So, obviously, around the state, realtors should conduct as much business as possible virtually. Well, our Alta agents are used to doing a lot of things virtually, right? So
sorry, I lost audio there.
Oh, that's okay. You're back. So
Okay.
I just asked, of course, they're keeping this updated almost every day. Is that correct, Travis?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good spot for,
as information.
Wait a minute, Travis, you sound like you're underwater. Did you drive your car into a river? Could you repeat that? We kind of lost your audio again. Say that one more time, please.
Sure. I think it's a good one to refer to. Keep it on your. No, I'm just. Sorry. I'm actually not going anywhere. I'm just sitting on the drive line. But we're updating it as information becomes available. So
that's good.
Almost daily.
Yeah. And so, the big things are just, maintaining that social distance, doing stuff virtually. All of our agents have access to a lot of virtual tools. I am more than happy to teach any of our agents how to use Zoom, and you guys can be using the Zoom program that we're using right now to communicate with your clients. And a lot of things like this, I think, are going to become the norm after this entire thing passes. And so again, we're, Alta Realty Group is very, very proactive about using technology. We encourage not driving all over the world and wasting time, so a lot of the things that are happening, we can kind of feel good that, we do at least have the tools that we need, and we are digital. We are We do embrace that technology, so that's at least a good thing. And then another thing that I think you sent me was this other. This is this is the same. This is the CRMLS. They've got some good coronavirus updates as well. So both of these are pretty good resources.
They are, and the CRMLS was an announcement for the clear cooperation policy, which we should probably go over next week.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
As that is coming into effect here really, really, really soon, and some of the MLSs already have it in effect.
Yeah, I wanted to cover that today, but I thought, we all agreed that it was a good idea, obviously, for us to address the situation that we're going through, and it was very important for us to kind of do that this week, of course.
Yeah, so let's do that next week, and then I guess, kind of in closing, just I've been kind of saying to everybody, just use this time wisely, and get your projects done, and if you ever wanted to do video marketing or get your contacts in order and stuff like that, now's the time. I mean, everybody is on break, so you're not going to be missing a whole lot, and really just keep your contacts, keeping in contact with your contacts. If you had any deals going, or if you had some leads coming in, some of them I know have said, hey, we're going to hold off, but I don't know. There's been just a pretty good surge of people jumping on the internet, filling out lead forms, interested in buying homes. And so, when this all starts to come back alive, I think there's going to be some action out there. So keep in contact with those people, and, don't go silent.
For sure. So that was kind of the last thing that I was going to discuss was this is a great time to do a couple different things. First of all, we're always talking about, at least once a quarter or once a year, you need to get out there and get on the phone and talk to these people that are in your database and just call them up and see how they're doing. Do you need anything? Can I help you with anything as a person in the community? Those are really, this is a good opportunity to show the people that are in your database that you do actually care, how they're doing, how they're faring. You might know some older people, maybe you could, pick something up for them, or you could teach them how to get things delivered. I don't know. There's always something that you could do and, be very genuine, obviously. And so this is a good time to make those phone calls, sit there, dial for, I won't say dial for dollars. I say dial for compassion and dial for, make sure that the people in your database know that you're there and, you're there to help them. Right?
Dial for smiles. How about that?
Dial for smiles. I love that, Travis. And you will, you're going to get a smile on the other end. If you're just calling to say, hey, I hope everything's okay. You're not calling, hey, you want some real estate? You're doing it as a genuine human being, so I think that's a really important point. The other important point is I wouldn't stop doing your marketing right now. I've had a lot of agents ask, hey, should I, stop it? No, you still want to stay top of mind. And as Travis said, there's more people online now than ever because a lot of people are cooped up. What do? They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're checking their stuff. And so, don't, unless of course you just can't afford it, but I really encourage everybody to continue your marketing, continue to be that presence in your community. And I think that's all we can really do as real estate agents in our community right now. And I've got a couple of different questions here, so I want to get these. So Charlie is asking, can we show homes at all? Really, I mean, I would say no. There are a lot of different ways to do kind of virtual tours, and I think we all need to start exploring some of those. But I would say as a rule, no, we don't really want to be showing property. We have to maintain that social distancing, 6 feet apart, wash your hands. What's your thought on that, Travis?
I mean, they recommend against it right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody's an adult here and they're going to do what they're going to do, but it's not recommended.
Yeah.
From the governor, for one, and
Mm-hmm.
for two, any of the associations. So the associations are going to side with whatever, is being put out there from their bosses, which is, the government and everybody. So
Yep.
they are not going to say anything different you know,
Yeah.
because it's a liability for them. So the recommendation right now is chill out, stay home, and work from home.
You know, and Charlie, you know, we can, as much as possible, you're going to want to, send virtual tours. You know, there's little things that we can do, and just let our clients know that, hey, this is, you know, hopefully within 2 weeks, yeah, we can start showing you properties, and let's get our list of properties together, and let's still maintain those conversations, right? But the actual, showings, let's all just take a break from that for, at least until, the government tells us, hey, we can start doing that again. I think that's the smartest way to go, Charlie.
Yeah, and you might be in a position where you can kind of stall them a little bit too with making sure they're, really, really qualified, and, looking at what kind of loan they're doing isn't going to be a risk moving forward. Like some of these ones that are just, if they're a non-QM loan or maybe, kind of on the borderline of getting qualified,
Yeah.
maybe strengthening up the approval a little bit more with the lender, with getting more documentation over there. At the same time, not it seems like we just need to get through another couple weeks, really.
That's what I think. Now we have one question. What if the property's empty? Can you, have somebody go by and check it out? I still think, that's a no. I mean, a person, an individual, just like anytime, they can go buy a house and look at the outside and that kind of stuff. But I still wouldn't invite an age or a prospect to go in and look at a house, at the inside of a house, even if it's empty, because who has to open the door? You do. So, so it's still, you're making contact. You're making human contact. So I would say no.
Yeah, I mean, if they end up driving by it, I guess, and saying, hey, we really want it, or we've been looking for a home in that neighborhood. I mean, there's creative things you can do, especially if you're trying to incorporate the coronavirus addendum, and that would be, making the offer subject to interior inspection in the next couple weeks, basically. But you could still lock up the deal, I guess, because there's going to be those homes that come on the market or come back on the market, because that's been the big thing lately, is all the ones coming back on the market.
Yeah.
And if it's one that maybe they missed out on or something like that, I mean, you don't necessarily need to go to the house. You can do it subject to interior inspection.
Right.
To lock up the deal and just run an extra long escrow. So long as everybody is
kind of faded out there, Travis.
On. Huh?
I said you kind of faded out there a little bit.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yes. Lean north.
Yeah, I'll stand at the corner here
There you go.
while the sun comes out.
Yeah, perfect. So I think that's the overall theme, guys. And Anthony Perry, he's asking, which websites can show virtual tours? You can have Matterport do virtual tours and all that kind of stuff. Again, if the virtual tour is not existing already, you're going to have some trouble. So that's tough. But again, going forward, it kind of, lends itself to the need for having those virtual tours and having those digital tools that we can, use, not just to streamline our business, but also to, make sure that, we're getting our clients all the right information. They can see exactly what to do. They don't have to perhaps, walk through the house, because this is going to change a lot of people's mindsets just about, contact in general with people. That's true. So yeah, virtual tours, I recommend, spending the money on Matterport or something like that in the future if you've not already done it. So I hope that answers your question, Anthony. So besides that, I don't see any more questions, but obviously, as this is a fluid environment, you guys are always welcome to contact us for all kinds of questions. And so again, I just want everybody to maintain that social distance and just, be safe out there, guys. And Bill Seitz, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, just going to finish on some positive news.
Good.
If everyone's kind of been watching the markets too, Congress and the president announced a stimulus package this morning. They've come to an agreement, and they're going to, obviously, this is going to make a big difference in the confidence of the economy moving forward. Just the stock market was up 11% yesterday. It's up, just in the webinar, it's gone up over 4% for the morning. And we're seeing really positive feedback to what they're trying to do and how they're trying to combat this and keep the economy strong moving out of this issue. So I do think, as Travis mentioned earlier, that we are going to see, I feel good that we're going to see some real estate transactions, and things are going to be moving again once we just kind of have to just get through this little rut. And you can always tell by the way the market reacts to things, especially, stimulus, getting people money, getting companies able to make payroll. You're going to see a big difference, I think, here moving the next couple of weeks.
For sure. Well, thank you very much for that positive news, Bill. Really appreciate that. We need all the positive news we can get, right?
Yeah. And one additional thing is we do have a Facebook, private Facebook group. And it makes me, it's really easy for me to post updates in there, and for Kevin and everybody to post updates in there. So if you haven't joined the private Facebook group, which is Alta Realty Group Agents, just request it. Obviously, we'll accept you, and we'll be posting updates in there as well to keep everybody informed.
That's a great idea. What I'm going to try to do is, and I know it's tough. I know some of you don't even have a Facebook personal page, which you should. But I'll try to find everybody and at least send an invite. But please, just on your own, if you could go into the Facebook groups, do a search for Alta Realty Group Agents, and join. We'll approve that, obviously, and then Travis will be able to post some really good updates. Well, thanks a lot for that, Travis. Really, I appreciate that. And you guys, like I said, just stay safe, get out there, be as productive as possible, use this time wisely. And next week on the webinar, we'll go over that addendum, or what is that?
Clear cooperation.
The clear cooperation deal. So,
yep.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Be safe, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.